Commission is going to see a more participative process in the election of, or the selection rather, of the Chief Election Commissioner and the panel. What's your reaction to this?
It's in three parts, Rahul. First of all, this must now conclusively put to end every question of impartiality on an institution as pious as the Election Commission, and the attempt to besmirch the good name of the institution should stop immediately, even if the election results today don't go according to some of the people who are cheering on this verdict. Secondly, this idea of participative and transformative, transparent institution should now go into every organ of our democracy. It should not be limited to legislature, executive, or an independent body like the EC. There are other organs of government, including the judiciary, which must be informed by the same touchstone of participatory and transparent processes, because I should not be allowed to appoint myself. First principle of natural justice says that the judge can't be an appointer in his own cause.
Right.
So I hope it transcends into all organs of the
into all organs, and that is an expected reaction coming in from the BJP. Give me 30 seconds, Shahzad. I want to go across to also Mr. Ashwini Upadhyay. He joins us. Mr. Upadhyay, your first reaction.
बहुत लैंडमार्क जजमेंट है राहुल जी, और हमने 5 मांग रखी थी, वो पांचों सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने मान लिया है। हमने कहा था कि अपॉइंटमेंट थ्रू कोलेजियम होना चाहिए, जिसमें उसको भी मान लिया है। दूसरा हमने कहा था कि तीनों इलेक्शन कमिश्नर्स को इक्वल प्रोटेक्शन होना चाहिए, इक्वल सिक्योरिटी होना चाहिए, इक्वल राइट होना चाहिए। अभी क्या है कि मान लीजिए सीसी को हटाना है तो इम्पीचमेंट लाना पड़ेगा, लेकिन दोनों जो इलेक्शन कमिश्नर हैं उनको आप एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑर्डर से हटा सकते हैं। तो अभी ये भी हो गया कि हाँ, तीनों का इम्पीचमेंट का प्रोसेस भी कॉमन हो जाएगा। एक जो बड़ी दिक्कत आती थी, इलेक्शन कमीशन को बार बार पैसे मांगने पड़ते थे छोटे छोटे काम के लिए, तो इंडिपेंडेंट बजट की मांग भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने मान लिया है। चौथी हमने मांग किया था कि इंडिपेंडेंट सेक्रेटरीट होना चाहिए। अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट के पास इंडिपेंडेंट सेक्रेटरीट है, लोकसभा के पास इंडिपेंडेंट सेक्रेटरीट है, लेकिन इलेक्शन कमीशन का इंडिपेंडेंट सेक्रेटरीट नहीं है। उसमें जो एम्प्लॉई काम करते हैं वो एक टाइम बेसिस पे 2 साल 3 साल के लिए आते हैं गवर्नमेंट से, फिर चले जाते हैं, और इसलिए इसके चक्कर में उनकी एक्सपर्टीज नहीं हो पाती इलेक्शन कमीशन का इलेक्शन कंडक्ट करने की। तो उसके लिए भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने मान लिया है कि हाँ, इलेक्शन कमीशन का एक इंडिपेंडेंट सेक्रेटरीट होना चाहिए। और हमारी 5वीं मांग थी कि इलेक्शन कमीशन के पास रूल मेकिंग पावर होनी चाहिए। कई बार ऐसा होता है कि पॉलिटिकल पार्टियां जाति का जहर घोलती रहती हैं, भाषा का जहर घोलती रहती हैं, क्षेत्रवाद फैलाती रहती हैं, अपराधियों को टिकट देती रहती हैं, और भी क्या क्या करती रहती हैं। इलेक्शन के दौरान शराब बंटवाती रहती हैं, काला धन बंटवाती रहती हैं, सब आपको पता है क्या क्या होता रहता है। लेकिन इलेक्शन कमीशन कुछ कर नहीं पाता, इफेक्टिवली नहीं कर पाता। तो हमने ये कहा कि जब तक पार्लियामेंट से कानून बने तब तक अगर नहीं बन पा रहा है, तो इलेक्शन कमीशन के पास ऐसी जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, जो पॉलिटिकल पार्टियां डिवाइड करती हैं, उनको टैकल करने के लिए उसके पास रूल मेकिंग पावर होनी चाहिए। और जिस तरीके का जो जाति, धर्म, भाषा, क्षेत्र का जो जहर घोला जाता है, उनको टैकल करने के लिए भी इलेक्शन कमीशन के पास एक पावर होनी चाहिए। तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने वो 5वीं मांग मान लिया है। तो अब एक तरीके से मुझे लगता है इलेक्शन कमीशन की ऑटोनॉमी में बहुत लैंडमार्क जजमेंट है। इसका बेनिफिट, फायदा ये होगा जनता में कि जातिवाद, भाषावाद, क्षेत्रवाद कम होगा, कट्टरवाद कम होगा, मजहबी उन्माद कम होगा। जो इलेक्शन जीतने के लिए इस तरीके का यूज करते हैं ना, जाति, धर्म, भाषा, क्षेत्र को, शायद उनके ऊपर कंट्रोल लगेगा। ब्लैक मनी का जो यूज होता है इलेक्शन कमीशन में, वो भी कम होगा। तो इससे बहुत बड़ा फायदा होने वाला है।
ऑब्वियसली इसमें जो आपने उपाध्याय साहब मांगे की थी, मोरलेसली तो कोर्ट ने उन पे ठप्पा लगा दिया, मोहर लगा दिया, मगर आप समझते हैं कि जो इस पे पॉलिटिक्स जो शुरू हुई थी कि इलेक्शन कमीशन पे जो उंगलियां उठती थी हर इलेक्शन के बाद, खास करके 2014 के बाद, अब वो भी बंद हो जाएगा, वो थम जाएगा ये मामला पूरा?
देखिए, इलेक्शन कमीशन पहले भी इंडिपेंडेंट था राहुल जी, आज भी इंडिपेंडेंट है। ऐसा नहीं कि इलेक्शन कमीशन पहले इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं था, इस जजमेंट के बाद ज्यादा इंडिपेंडेंट हो जाएगा। हाँ, लेकिन कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं जिनको केवल उंगली उठाना है, कभी ईवीएम पे उंगली उठाना है, कभी इलेक्शन कमीशन पे उंगली उठाना है, कभी कुछ भी करना है। जनता के बीच में काम नहीं करना है, हारने के बाद इलेक्शन कमीशन को दोषी देना है। तो फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच है, वो तो शायद अभी भी करेंगे, लेकिन कम से कम अब उनके पास कोई ग्राउंड नहीं होगा। अब मुझे लगता है इस जजमेंट के बाद उनका मुंह बंद हो जाना चाहिए। हाँ, इसके बाद भी कोई बोलता फिर उससे बड़ा बेशर्म कोई हो नहीं सकता।
Thank you very much, Ashwini ji. I just want to bring in Mr. Rajagopalan and Sanjay Jha also here with us. Mr. Rajagopalan, very quickly coming to you on this. Clearly, now the opposition parties have a stake in the appointment of the next CEC and in the panel. It's a collegium system. Of course, I know you're going to say that the Supreme Court should apply the same yardstick to itself and perhaps make this appointment process when its own appointment process is concerned more transparent, but that's a slightly different issue. How do you see this? How do you see this?
Now, will the committee choose one from the public market, open market? We have to wait and watch. The committee can also get a legal expert or even sitting judge can be appointed as election commissioner. So far, we have been given it to the bureaucrats and also to the police officers. Now, there will be an open market system. That is what I would like to envisage. Second most important, Rahul, this is member of 4 committee. It has no justice. It should be 5th member. The Speaker of Lok Sabha should also be included in this committee because he is the elected representative. He is the presiding officer of People's Lok Sabha. Therefore, Supreme Court, there will be an amendment from the government side. Let us make it as a 5-member committee so that the government gets opportunity of 4. Apart from that, as you also exactly said, we have reformed everywhere. Everywhere Supreme Court is giving its own extended arm. Now, who will comment on Supreme Court judges? A collegium cannot appoint his own choice. Therefore, there should be a mechanism for selecting Chief Justice and also the judges. Therefore, the need of our is National Judicial Accountability Bill will be reintroduced in monsoon session of Parliament.
Very, very interesting. Let me quickly come out to you, Sanjay Jha, and of course, Shehzad Poonawalla. Shehzad Poonawalla, of course, now the fight will really in earnest be for the LoP's post. Till now, the LoP's post itself, at least till the last election, was being handed out as some sort of a token gratification or consolation prize because some of the parties didn't make the criteria. Now, of course, there is something at least for the Congress and the other opposition parties to contest and fight for, if nothing else. Shehzad, sorry I'm being a little cheeky there, but the fact of the matter is that the LoP's position now becomes very, very important.
Absolutely, and already this arrangement is in place as far as the appointment of the CBI chief is concerned. So there's nothing unusual. There is nothing, that some people might want to say that, oh, this is going to be such a tremendous judgment because it has now shown the government its place. I know I can predict some of the speakers are going to come up, but having said that, I would only say that this transparency should carry on to all organs, and secondly, transparency should be done, but it should not be through the mechanism of judicial interference, because legislative independence and separation of powers is also seen in our own constitution, and therefore every branch of government, whether it's the executive, legislature or the judiciary, should be allowed to function independently. Nonetheless, the judiciary has come up with a decision. There's no point in giving any other commentary on this. We welcome any decision that is taken in the step towards ensuring greater transparency, and I hope it informs all organs of government and democracy.
Okay, quick response from Sanjay Jha before I bring in Madhav for more details from the judgment. Sanjay Jha, important milestone. Hopefully now the rancor that the opposition has demonstrated towards the Election Commission will subside.
Rahul, let me tell you, thank God for the Supreme Court of India that Indian democracy continues to survive. This is an authoritarian government. They have corrupted institutions. And you can make out from the voice of the BJP spokesperson on the panel that they are already sounding very deflated because they have used institutions as an instrument of their own.
Let me tell you, you have been making these points for the last few days, but there are no takers for these points. No, 1 second. There are no takers for these points. The election results are showing this today. 3 elections, 3 states, the Congress sliding into oblivion. Perhaps you need to look. Perhaps you need to look afresh at what the people want to hear and also what you are saying to them. Yes, Shehzad is raising his hands, and let's get Sanjay Jha and Shehzad Poonawalla to square off.
We need to segregate election results from the health of India's democratic institutions. And I think today the BJP is going to get sleepless nights because the moment that coercive powers
you want to remove the power of the public.
in trying to
from
subvert
determining.
democracy.
Now, that is a novel one. I mean, can you imagine Sanjay Jha saying today that the vote that we have
Rahul.
fought so hard as Indians to win
Rahul.
should be ignored as a barometer of people's sentiment from the democratic health of this country? Oh my gosh, that's a big statement. Yeah, that's what Indira Gandhi did successfully. We don't want to go back there.
Cambridge University.
Very quickly, Shadad Punala, yes, he wants to come in.
Mr. Modi
Yeah.
must be a worried man, Rahul. Trust me.
Rahul.
Cambridge is worried.
Rahul,
The mother of
it's,
democracy is the
Rahul.
father of
Cambridge is
dictatorship.
worried.
Rahul, Mr. Rajgopalan, if I
Mother of
may.
democracy is a father of
Rahul,
dictatorship.
if I may. Rahul, you've called upon my name.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Rahul,
Go ahead.
if I may.
Go ahead.
You know, it's not without reason that I say, that some people are not suspended in membership but suspended in logic, because some people have divorced the act of voting and electoral outcomes, which is key and most important in a democracy, from democracy itself. But having said that, today I am very happy. I don't know why he's thinking my voice is deflated. Today we have now ruled out the prospect of getting an election commissioner like Naveen Chawla.
That's what I said.
Don't you think that's an
That is
achievement?
what I said, Sanjay.
I think it's a very big achievement. Sanjay, don't become a body language and a voice expert. I think if anything, the results that are flashing on the screens, where the Congress has essentially become a Northeast Mukt Congress, I think those results should tell you that this is also a reflection of democracy, that your politics of divide and rule and Parivarwad have been rejected in eternity. But here you are not able to understand the verdict. And finally, today, I am very happy for one more reason, Rahul. Till yesterday on your show, I was hearing that the court of this country is not independent. Today, Sanjay Jha has said that the Supreme Court is alive and kicking. So tomorrow, when the verdict on Manish Sisodia and others have come, those will also be accepted, and they will not say that the courts are being influenced. I am very happy because one leader, a Tapaswi till yesterday, had said that even the courts are agents of the BJP and RSS.
Yeah, and there was a lot of, in fact, commentary from the opposition questioning, especially after the Ayodhya judgment, and of course, after the Demo judgment about the independence of the judiciary. But Swapnil Kothari, thank you very much for joining us this morning. It's a bright morning. There is a lot of action, most of it now coming from the Supreme Court. How do you look upon this? Madhav also there with us for more details on what the order says. But Swapnil Kothari, first to you, quick analysis.
Yes, Rahul, it's in fact a very bright morning also for the Supreme Court and for the Indian democracy. Somehow I always feel that the judiciary, when it does a wonderful job, and it's been doing a wonderful job, a stellar job, it always seems to face the flak, especially when orders do not go in favor of the opposition. Now, with this kind of a ruling, which is more of like a tight slap on any sort of compunctions or any sort of aberrations that anybody could have against the judiciary, we are looking at a very, very nice panel where you are going to say that there is a leader of opposition, whether there's going to be a prime minister and there's going to be a CJI. In fact, in November 2022 itself, Rahul, Arun Goel's decision, appointment as an election commissioner, a swift one, was challenged by the Supreme Court, or was questioned by the Supreme Court, saying that why have you appointed this election commissioner in such a hurry? It's at such a lightning speed. So the seeds of this judgment was sown on that particular day itself.
Right.
And I knew for a fact that the CJI would step in. And this is a good thing. And all I can say is that I believe a lot of transparency will now be there. Or should I say a perceived opaqueness is vanished. And there'll be more transparency as far as this process is concerned.
Well, very interesting. Madhav, what more is the order saying?
Well, absolutely, Rahul. Before I just get into the order, let's just understand why this is so important. Remember that since the TN Session led reforms at the time that he was CEC, and the formation of a panel where there was not one CEC himself, but two other election commissioners, which made it a 3-member panel, and that has pretty much been the precedent for the last 26 years or so. This is another massive poll reform, and why it is so is that it is the government through the Law Commission, which is the nodal department to notify as far as election commission is concerned. The government would typically, and I'm saying typically because there have been exceptions to this, appoint an IAS officer as the election commissioner, and therefore the senior most officer amongst those, this is of course post-retirement, typically post the age of 60 when they superannuate, they would be appointed to the election commission and then continue for a period until they turn 65. The senior most of them automatically would become CEC. This is pretty much a process that has been in place. There have been exceptions to the rule. There have been IRS officers ministers, etc., who have been appointed recently as well. But this has, at some level or other, raised questions at a time when the Election Commission itself has been at the heat of a lot of political debate. About questions have been raised by opposition time and again, not just on EVMs, but on the partiality or the impartiality question when it comes to different, issues, whether it's model code of conduct or otherwise. Because the Election Commission, apart from just being a poll management body, is also a quasi-judicial authority that decides on various issues, including the symbols of various political parties,
Rahul,
that decides on, the fate of political parties, and therefore it becomes, it has been extremely controversial. Whichever way you look at it, the fact that it is now going to be done by a panel is certainly going to change the manner in which the entire appointment process itself is done. The Supreme Court, of course, says that there have been questions that have been raised about whether political influence has been there in terms of the decision-making and appointments as far as Election Commission is concerned. And they want to do away with that with this particular decision.
Okay, Mr. Rajagopalan wants to make a point before we step into a break.
The Election Commission also wanted, all the retiring election commissioners wrote to government saying that they want contempt proceedings. Will the new judgment have an opening for that? Contempt proceedings by the Election Commission.
Any word on that?
Defaulting.
Any word on that, Mother? We can't hear you. I think you muted yourself.
Well,
can you just, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a very important point that has been made by Mr. Rajgopalan. We will have to go through the fine print because a lot in terms of the powers of the Election Commission also have been sought by the petitioners. What exactly the judgment says in its fine print, we are still in the process of going through. The operational parts are already out. But yes, a lot of points that have been raised, even Ashwini Upadhyay was elaborating on those in terms of the powers of the Election Commission itself and the entire impartiality in terms of the role, in terms of the funding of Election Commission. It doesn't have to run to the government coffers every time to get its funding for various reforms approved. Remember, there are a lot of reforms in the pipeline that have been hanging fire for years. Some of them have been implemented by this government, but many of them have been hanging fire for a long time for want of executive approval. And perhaps with more autonomous...
And what about the election bonds? The election bonds was a contemporary one.
Well, we'll have to go through the fine print, obviously, of this particular order. There were 5 basic demands. Most of them have been met. We'll have to go into the fine print, as you yourself are saying, Madhav. We'll take a very short break. We'll be right back, viewers. The big news coming out from the Northeast and the Supreme Court today, not in any order of priority, the Supreme Court coming out and deciding that the Election Commission, the panel's selection process needs to be more inclusive and has therefore recommended a collegium system which will include also the leader of the opposition. Very, very critical. So government's monopoly over the selection of the Election Commission and the other 2 members of the panel now ends. Reaffirmation in India's democracy, and of course the Election Commission's impartiality, number 1. Number 2, viewers, from the Northeast, the BJP wave holding forth there, powered really by the Prime Minister's brand, his personal connect with the electorate, and of course Himanta Biswa Sarma's very clever management of the politics there. I'll take a very short break.